Gilbert Burns versus Khamzat Chimaev. This could be, alright, absolutely this could be the fight of the year. In one side of the octagon, you've got Gilbert Burns, the proven veteran, being there with the best of them, all that experience, and a point to prove as well. On the other side of the octagon, you've got Khamzat Chimaev. All the hype, all the big wins, the showreel knockouts, etc, etc. And I get all the hype around Chimaev, okay, I get it, but keep watching this video because there's a few things that Gilbert says. In fact, there's one thing that Gilbert says that is absolutely concrete in confidence, and it might shock you all. The round what he believes he's going to stop Chimaev in.
And I believe I can finish Chimaev. I believe I will finish Chimaev.
Remember, believe in Bruce. Thoughts become things.
You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Believe in Bruce channel. Today on The Inside Fight, this is part of my channel where we look at the psychology of a fighter. And we've got Gilbert Burns here in his garage. Gilbert, first and foremost, thank you very much for giving me the space to come and talk to you. How are you doing today, Gilbert?
Doing good. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. So obviously, we're here in your garage talking about the mental side of fighting. It's not a side that people talk about a lot. Yeah, we do the physical preparation, you know, the workout that we've done this morning. You're a multiple BJJ world champion, elite level UFC welterweight. How important is it to you, the mental game, or do you believe it's actually part of your game, that mental side of preparation?
I believe for sure it's a mental side of preparation, for sure. Especially going to a fight, it's a lot of levels. I think it's a level in preparation, but I do a lot of things that help me like get ready and accept a lot of things that's gonna come, you know, with the fight. And I do a lot of things. I do a lot of visualization, a lot of study, a lot of techniques that help me get through a training camp into a fight and be able to perform on the highest level. I think on the beginning, I didn't was more, in Brazil, we saw more as a therapy. I saw him as a weakness. Oh, he needs a psychologist. Oh, we had all that like kind of thing that we kind of run away. Oh, I don't need that. But I was already 3 times Jiu-Jitsu world champion. I was already in the UFC and I had a loss that my weight cut was so bad. And I went to, whenever the fight started, I was already frustrated because the weight cut was super bad. And then after that loss, I realized, okay, I need a little bit more a professional help in that. And then I was looking for a sports psychologist in Brazil, and then we started working in 2017, if I'm not wrong, and then we're still working till today. And then it was a lot of things that changed in my career when I make that decision. And not just on these, because everything is connected, you know, physically, mentally. I don't think, for sure we can work separately, but if you're able to put it together, I think it was one of the biggest changes in my career.
Thank you. So you mentioned some things there that, some psychological tools that you're already using. Yeah. Because you felt the benefit from it, yeah?
Yes.
Just to go back to something that you said first, that that using a sports psychologist can be seen as a weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's still the case now in the fighting arena?
No way.
Okay.
On the beginning we had a little like, you know, like I think I can say it was ignorance. I didn't know what was going on, but now I know. Everyone that does sport needed to have a little bit of psychologist to put it together. And yeah, on the beginning I was I don't need it, but as soon as I started doing it, I like it very much, and it helped me so much. And I think everybody should looking for one because it does help to maximize my performance, organizing all my training. And the biggest thing, to be honest, the biggest thing that I learned was my self-control. Like a lot of things that I don't know, a lot of fears that I had, a lot of questions, I didn't know that I had it. I didn't know why I had it. I have no idea. And it was a lot of things kind of going to my ego, going to my defensive side. Oh no, I don't like that. And I after I kind of knowledge all that, understanding that, and learning how to okay, I know what I don't like. I know why I'm feeling that way. I know what I don't, having that understanding helped me so much to a lot of different things, even anxiety, even an opponent said something to me, I think 5 years ago, I'll be like freaking mad, I'll take it personal. Today it is what it is. He can say whatever he wants, but that calmness, that understanding came with a lot of work, a lot of techniques, a lot of reading, a lot of studying, a lot of questioning, a lot of, even when I go through we always making a lot of evaluations, win or lose. Before I was taking that, okay, if I lose, I learned so much in my losses. Then now every time we get to learn something, So we have a lot of evaluations after the fight. How was the camp? How was the pre-camp? How was the fight? How was the pre-fight? How was your strategy? How was the execution? So we make all that, the evaluation, and then I can feel a lot better, and I feel my improvement fight by fight.
And when you said about some techniques that you mentioned at the start there, visualization, obviously the idea with what we're doing here is to try to share your learning with other people. So it's, hey, if it works for Gilbert and he's an elite level fighter, then it could work out for me just starting on my combat journey.
For sure.
Can you give me an example of maybe a scenario that you've visualized and how you think it's actually helped you?
A couple fights, like whenever I go to a fight, I fight the guy 6 weeks prior to the fight. I fight that guy every day at night. So whenever I fight the guy, I fought that guy 45 times, 60 times already. So it get me on a place that I'm way more comfortable with bad positions, with the frustration. If the guy knocked me down, I don't get it. What now? No, I've been there. He knocked me down a couple times. So it gets me more prepared for anything that happened in a fight. Even eye poke, I visualize all that. I put me on all through all those scenarios. Eye poke, like a low blow, a knockdown, a takedown. I don't find my distance, so I make that a couple times before the fight happened itself. And it's been helping me so much. Whenever I get on the fight, I'm ready for literally every and each one of scenario that can be on the fight. And that's been helping me so much. Even if I do gotta have a hard conversation with my wife or with a trainer, with someone, I would visualize that conversation a couple times just to get, okay, it's gonna be tough, but okay, let's visualize one, and then okay, we gotta talk about it, this and then. And I do it again. And another thing that helps on that visualization is I read a study maybe 3-4 months ago that the brain, as more and more times you do the visualization, it gets so real. Whenever you're doing, it gets so real that the brain doesn't know if that's real or if it's just a visualization. So how real it gets to the brain. So I think that's a big thing that I do. But I do a visualization. I do my notes. I have my daily notes. I know what I'm going to train, how I'm going to train. I know it's going to be tough. I have my, if I translate, it's going to be like a dialogue interior, like I'm talking to myself.
In a voice.
Yeah, I have that voice. I think everybody has that little voice in there. And I know the tricks already. I know, oh, you're too tired, you should rest. Oh, it's too tough. Oh shit, it's too heavy. I have all those words that I'm gonna talk, trying to convince myself that it's too hard, that I should stop. And I have my, in Portuguese it's nice because the game, the ping pong, that's how we have a ping and you gotta give a pong back. And there's a ping and there's a pong.
So you have a response ready.
Yeah, you gotta respond nice.
Yeah.
Because the ping, sometimes that ping, if you're not paying attention, if you're not there, that ping sometimes is too hard, so you gotta give a pong back. And through the years, I've been developing a hard pong, a hard answer to those questions. And I already have for myself, I know what I wanna be, I know I do want to be one of the best. I want to fight every single best guy in the division. But it's more than that. I have my family that I fight for, my parents in Brazil, my family here, and that's a big pong. Whenever it gets too heavy, then I'm like, bro, I'm so tired. That hurts. This hurt. I gotta throw my family in there. I gotta throw. Okay, for the ring or for Gilbert, it's too hard, but for Joshua's dad is not as hard for and then there's a big pong back. That's another thing. So
because you can't. What we were discussing on our way here is that you can't stop feeling.
No.
And so you can have a thought, and you can feel instantly.
Yeah.
That may be the ping.
Yes.
Yeah. That may be a narrative. Your inner voice.
Yes.
Starts playing to you, and it's very easy as humans, the way we are wired, created, to look at the negative side. To look at the worst case, and that's where that self-doubt comes in. So you call it the pong. Well, what I do with the people I work with, I call it my why.
Yes.
Why should I keep
purpose,
going? Why should I turn up when I'm tired? Why, when I'm injured and I'm aching, why should I go that little bit further? Because when people say about, quitting is never an option, quitting is the easiest option.
It's the easiest.
You can quit at any time.
It's the fastest option.
Yeah, it's there.
Right here.
Anybody can grab it. Yeah, anybody can grab it. But you've got to understand. So what I call, it's called critical moment control.
Okay.
And those points where and we all get self-doubt. Yeah, every single person gets self-doubt. It's those critical moments in there where you're just about to say, okay, stop.
I'm done. Yeah.
What narrative can you pong back?
Yes.
Yeah, to grab up there. It's a bit like we go into the gym. We're on the bench press. We put some heavy weights on. You're a strong guy. You start doing reps. And you say, okay, Bruce, I'm tired. I can't do one more. And you actually believe that you can't do one more. Then, just at that time, my wife will kill me for this. But if I'm tired, I can't do any more. 2 or 3 women come in. Lovely gym attire. They sit next to me. All of a sudden, whoa, I've got some more in there. That was always in there. You're just doing a thing called reframing. Reframing how tired you thought you were. Reframing how exhausted you thought you were. Yeah, and giving yourself another go. Giving yourself space to perform better. So when I mentioned self-doubt, self-doubt is a thing that we all have. Mike Tyson gives a really good example that when he's walking to the ring, he's terrified, he's petrified. He's been thinking of this guy constantly, that he could take away everything that he holds dear, that he is valued for. But then he feels differently once he gets in the ring. So for Gilbert Burns, where have you really felt that self-doubt or negative talk? Was it after Hooker? Was it after Usman? Was it, a Friday when you were just walking down the street?
I kind of feel that a lot, but today I have the response. I have that pong. I have something to respond, and for sure. After a loss is where it hits me hard. I the same way I love to win and I do everything in my power to win, is the same way that I hate to lose and I do everything in my power to don't lose. Mm-hmm. And whenever I lose a fight, first thing that I do is I know how hard I work. I know the team that I built around me. So, but I take a lot of ownership. I know it was my fault. I want to understand what did I do wrong? What was the mistakes? And then I hunt those mistakes. And then couple fights, it took me a couple weeks. It took me more than 1 month to hunt and understanding and recognize every single mistake that I did. Mm-hmm. And I have self-doubt. I don't think it is one of the biggest things that I have, but I'm kind of, the way I work most, I look to I want a solution. I want to find the problem. I want to find the mistakes that I did, and I want to make sure I don't do it again. If I do it again, then I'm very hard on myself because I should learn on the first time. But a self-doubt comes right when I lose. I push myself down so much, and it takes me, I would say, like those first 2 days after a loss is it's hard. Mm-hmm. I'm beating myself up very hard. And
what's going on in your head during those two? What language are you using?
At that time, I'm sad, I'm pissed, and I'm trying to shit. What did I do wrong? The camp was good, and then I go through all my notes, all my plans. I say, man, that shit was good. Mentally it was good. But what okay, that wasn't good. That thing I can do better. And I start writing down. And but sometimes it takes more than one conversation. You know, sometimes it takes a conversation with the coach to understand what I did do wrong. Sometimes a conversation with my psychologist. Sometimes a conversation with my wife. And I'm trying to find, you know, what do you think? And then I open up super easy for me. And I take the ownership. It was my mistake. I fought. I make the decision. I hired this coach. I hired that person. I built a team around me. So for me, I want to understand why I lost. And then sometimes what hurts me more sometimes takes so long for me to understand. You know, till I don't understand, I have a lot of I go deep until I find. And a couple fights. An example that I can use with you super easy is the Dan Hooker fight. The Dan Hooker fight, I was coming from 2 knockouts. I was doing a lot of boxing, a lot of kickboxing. I came from 2 knockouts fighting a guy that was more as a striker, kickboxer specialist. And then I was pretty confident that I was beating Hooker even on the stand-up. Even me being a grappler, I have very strong belief on my striking, my abilities. And on that fight, I remember everything was perfect. Besides the weight cut. The weight cut, I was cutting to 155. I was always 185, 190. That was a hard weight cut. But at that week, something just clicked on my ego. And I think one competition to win a fight, to win a championship is already a lot of pressure already. It takes a lot of effort to win that fight, that tournament already. You cannot make another fight. You cannot make proving this, and then I gotta prove that. And that was exactly what happened at that fight. I remember Henry and a couple other coaches saying, yeah, this fight, he gotta do more grappling. And nowadays I understand, okay, that guy's good and stand-up, we're gonna do more grappling. But at that time, my ego was so inflamed because of the 2 knockouts that I that I look at, and then when I listened to the coach, I remember me saying oh shit, they don't believe in me. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna only stand.
So your ego, what was unhelpful, then went to another level.
My ego went to
prove people wrong.
Level to prove. So instead of going to the fight feeling, okay, it's going to be a tough fight, but we got to follow this plan, do this, and this, and no. I'm going to the fight, and I'm going to show everybody, you know, in that, I think that takes away my strategy, my game plan, my why, and that was a big mistake. And then I rocked him very good, and then my weight cut was terrible, and the ego was taking control, you know.
Like a circle you got into.
And then end up losing that fight, TKO first round, and then it took me a while. First, my excuse was the weight cut, and then I started realizing, digging deep, and I know I had something. I want to prove to the coach, and whenever I had a little angry, I'm gonna prove these guys wrong, and I know something was wrong, and then I started having a couple conversations with my psychologist, and then we find out, okay, we got to control your ego a little better.
So that's what it is. We call it the upside down you. Yes. Yeah. So imagine a you, but it's upside down.
Yes.
So this can be for confidence. This can be for stress. So in this example here, where you've got too little confidence, can be really bad for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you are not activated enough.
Yes.
You know, you might want to run that way rather than that way. There's lots of things, but essentially is that you are on the negative side of it. And then if you can start to do cerebral triggers, so your thoughts become more strong, they become more focused, you believe more, you come up into the sweet spot of performance. And that's a great place to be in. But then either too much confidence or too much stress, is that when your performance starts to then come down. So sometimes having that maybe unregulated, unproven inner voice, I'm just going to knock him out, then leaves gaps in
A lot.
in other areas. And that brings us on, obviously, huge fight come up with Chimaev. I'll ask you two different questions if you're okay with that.
Okay.
When that fight got announced, so if anything, we can class it as a threat. Okay, so you've got an opponent, you could class it as an opponent about a fight, but there is some type of threat because you want to dominate and win the opponent wants to dominate and win you.
Yes.
They bring something to the table that you'll be aware of. You'll bring something to the table that they'll be aware of, yeah? What do you think Chimaev thinks about you? Where does your threat lie for against Chimaev that you think he'll be aware of?
We both are good grapplers. That's our strength. He's more as a wrestler. A long guy, lanky, very big for the division. I think he's stronger than me. I think he's bigger and stronger. Way better wrestler, like the Chechen wrestler, the Russian wrestler as well. He's one of the best, and he's born onto that. And now comes, and I think he can grapple very good, and I think he can strike very good too. Get power on his hand, get a couple knockouts. I think those are the things that I should be aware, and I believe it's the things that he's working on. Keeping his wrestling sharp, getting better on his grappling, keeping his striking sharp, getting better, strength, making all that, being in good shape. That's the guy that I think. And me facing a guy like that, I like to.
So what do you think he thinks of you?
He thinks of me. We had a couple talks. I think inside he underestimates me a little bit. He thinks I'm short. He's way bigger. I think he thinks I have good jiu-jitsu and good striking. I think that's it. He thinks I'm a normal guy. I'm just one extra fighter. And to be honest, a couple years ago, I'll be pissed about it, like, because he's thinking in that way. But nowadays, I understand, like, whatever he thinks about me is what he thinks. It doesn't define me. I know who I am. I know. And he really, and sometimes, even a couple times I talk about interviews, I say that, but I didn't mean it. But nowadays, I mean it. Like, if that person thinks me I'm ugly, Merry Christmas. I can't do nothing about it. The way I think he sees me, for sure, I think he respects me. But deep down inside, he's still undefeated. I've been there 10-0 undefeated. You still think you're invincible. You still think you're untouchable. You still, the confidence is a little over because you've never been
so
beat.
You're coming across that side slightly.
You never been
a little
beat.
bit,
Yeah, for sure. It's like you never been beat. The odds is all on him. The hype is ginormous. Not even pressure, but they believe, everybody believes he's the next one. And that, whenever you're too young and too immature to realize that we have a mental aspect that all that hype can become pressure. All these things, like whenever you get a guy that is gonna be there no matter what, he's gonna keep coming, and you used to get a couple guys and work, and it should be easy. And whenever, the way I see, whenever you level up, but too much, whenever you go stair by stairs, stairs by stairs, whenever you reach the top, I think you're super ready. But whenever you, even if you bring that exactly to a UFC level, if you fought one guy that was in UFC debut, if you fought a guy that got 2 fights, you fought a guy that have a couple losses, it doesn't put you in the elite yet. It didn't put you in the top 15. You never did a main event. You never did a co-main. You never fought for the title. I think all of that is a big jump for anyone, not just for Chimaev, but for anyone. Whenever you go to the first 3-4 fights and you jump, the pressure is different. Those guys over there are different. And I do believe in a certain way he'll be ready for it. And I count on him to be ready. But another part of me believes he's kind of overlooking to that and thinks he's going to just be a walk in the park. I'll be ready for the Chimaev that knows what's coming and be ready for that. And I hope that's the case. But if that's not the case, he's going to be a big fall. You know?
In a fight, we talk about quitting point.
Yes.
Yeah. So the people that I work with, I talk about quitting point.
Yeah.
And it's a fact.
Yes.
Yeah. That everybody will quit at a certain point.
Yes.
So during fights, essentially what it can be focused on is if it's not a knockout and you're trying to win, not by a points decision, what you're really trying to do is through all the techniques, the pain, the twists, the locks, is you're trying to make your opponent uncomfortable enough that you then dominate that mind space. That may be by them tapping, that may be by them quitting and stop trying, but ultimately you're trying to make them uncomfortable. Because if you can make them uncomfortable, then their mind, all it focuses on, because we're humans, the human mind wants to become comfortable. So when you've got someone in that guillotine that we were doing this morning, that's uncomfortable.
Super.
What they want to say is, hey, I want to be comfortable now in this particular moment. When it comes to the mental aspects, has there ever been one time where you've either walked that walk to the octagon or been in the ring and something hasn't been quite right that you were aware of through fight camp or in your preparation, and in that moment when you were in that octagon, there was that voice inside that said, you know, you probably could have done better here, or you haven't sorted this out. Can you give us some examples of that, if you will?
Two fights that I lost and 2 fights that I won, I had the same thought. So 2 fights that I lost, Dan Hooker, I went to the fight already with the ego, out of control, and with a very bad weight cut. So I was frustrated already that I did everything right, but the weight cut was super bad. And another fight, 2 before that, was Michel Prazeres, the guy in Brazil, that my weight cut was even harder than that. I was cramping for like over an hour after I made the weight. And I went to the fight, focused so much on my gas tank, I'm gonna make this guy tired. And I didn't know if I couldn't make to the fight because all my muscle was burned out for the cramping. So that I was already frustrated going to the fight. I knew it was gonna be tough. This fight I made do 3 rounds. And another case, whenever I move up on division, and I told the UFC that I'm moving up to welterweight, they offered me a fight in 2 weeks' notice. And I was always training. I'm obsessed. I'm crazy with training. I like to be training. I like to be in shape. I like to eat good. I like to compete. So I was in a very good shape, but at my mind at the time, I wasn't ready to fight. But I was in a very good shape. So I fought. I got those. And the call was, hey, you want to fight this Russian guy 20-0 in 2 weeks? On my first fight at welterweight, I said yes. And got to that fight. And I remember I won the first round and I won the second round, but my energy was gone. And I remember he gave me a calf kick and I was on the floor and he didn't come on my guard and the round was over. And I remember I was laying down on the floor and like, shit.
And what thoughts were going on right there? Right there, what thoughts were going on as you were lying on the ground?
Shit, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I can do it. Shit, I'm so freaking tired. And then my coach is walking, hey, stand up, you're good. And I'm like, shit, 5 more minutes. I think I can do it. Shit, I'm tired. We gotta be smart. And then I started making I always don't try to confront so much that conversation, but I try to make an agreement and making a peace, making a good relationship with that feeling. And I said, no, we can do it. It's gonna be tough, but we can do it. And then I started, and then my coach come in, they gave me like, just 5 minutes, you won already 2 rounds. The guy, he's gonna come hard, but he's tired you. You're gonna have 2 minutes. Survive those 2 minutes, you're good. And then we make to the fight, and I remember, first round I was moving, and then I remember, don't look at him like you're strong, and I was super tired. I want to look at him like, but I remember.
So you know before you walked back out there?
Yeah. So
you've done the rounds. You're lying on the floor.
Yeah.
At that moment, your inner voice is quite negative.
Super.
Yeah. Super. So it's negative. Then you start trying to reframe it.
Yes.
Okay, how can I look at this different? How can I make peace? I think that's a beautiful saying. How can I make peace with that?
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're looking at it differently. And if you can look at something differently, it makes you feel different about it.
No, I was looking for sure. first I was in the arena, full arena, and I was beating the guy. I was already winning that fight. I had only 5 minutes, so I was kind of making all those facts. Hey, we made it here. We beat this guy 2 rounds already. We just had 5 minutes, so I was making a piece of my art. I was the lawyer and I was the prosecutor, and then I was just, hey, okay, I know we're tired, but it's only 5 minutes. And the coach, we have a couple saying that we do in the training, body language. Look at him strong, and while we met with that, look at the guy like you accept everything that's gonna come. And before you're gonna understand me, but it's a little complicated. Before I make a peace with that quitting mentality, I have to accept what comes with it. It might come a knockout, it might come a loss, it might come, and I already accept. Okay, whatever it comes, I'm okay with it. I will deal with it. But it's the level of acceptance like that people don't have. Whenever I walk to the cage, people, oh, you're crazy. I'm gonna fight. But you can get knocked out. Yeah, I know. And I accept that. I can get knocked out. It might happen sooner or later. I'll be ready for it. But do I want to get knocked out? No, for sure not. But I'm not. But I'm okay if it happens. You know what I mean? So at that fight, I was already accepting. Okay, I'm fighting 5 more minutes. And I remember as soon as I make a peace with that movement, the coach kind of put me up a little bit. When the fight started, that dumb guy gave a freaking lazy spinning kick that when I saw his spinning body lock on his back, took him down. And then I remember whenever I got a body lock, then I was looking at the coach and like, how much time? And they said 3 minutes and a half. And I'm like, shit. 3 more minutes, and the fight was back again. Yeah. And the coach, relax. Look, just put your ear on just put a weight on him. Just turn your ear to the side. And I remember it was him. Then I did what the coach said, and I put a lot of weight, and then he fell. And I'm like, thank you. And I was on top of the guy, and then ended up winning that fight. Yeah. And another fight too was the same thing. It was against Gunna Nelson in Denmark. After this fight, 1 month after they called me again, want to get another short notice, 2 weeks against Gunna Nelson in Denmark. I said, yeah, we went to that fight. And then he won the first round. I won the second round. But he was kind of at home. He's from Iceland, but he trains in Denmark a lot. He was there. He was the favorite. And I know I got to do something big on that round. And I was in a very good shape. And then I remember I did a good takedown. I did a freaking flying knee. And it's still kind of tight a little bit. He was wearing me out a little bit one time in the cage. In winning, then I had to do something now. It was just like, hey, I'm not gonna. It comes back to I hate to lose and I love to win and I don't want to quit. I remember I had like 2 minutes and I have to do something big. And I remember he was putting me against the cage, and then I turned and I lift him on a huge double leg and I take him down, and the crowd were crazy, and that takedown made me win the fight. But the way that I see wasn't the takedown that made me win the fight, was my mentality. Hey, I gotta do something big right now. I cannot wait 30 seconds, 1 minute, we don't have time right now. And then whenever I make that decision and then I turn and execute a technique, but it wasn't the technique, it was all the takedown. Yeah, takedown was nice, yeah. But was the...
Come from the mind. By triggering yourself, you had the awareness to then trigger that either that action, that rush of energy, that different feeling that made you do that right there. Right then, you've done that. So we say about, mind games, they're not important in fighting. But you've just given some really good examples there where you play mind games with yourself. And really what it is you're coming to accept yourself. To accept the thoughts and feelings that you've had, not as a problem, but of a natural occurrence, that if you can acknowledge them and then, reframe them, shift them, it's going to be that. But also the body language. That's an example of trying to play a mind game with the opponent, because you present yourself in a certain way. What you're hoping is that opponent sees you in that moment and says, wow, he looks fresh. he's got so much energy. I'm knackered, I'm tired, I'm lying on the floor here.
Yeah.
And you're trying to impact the way he thinks and feels,
Yeah.
to try to get an advantage there. Has anyone ever played mind games with you that, looking back on, you realised, A, what they'd done, but also, B, how you reacted, and it possibly could have been different now? You've got this awareness of yourself.
Couple opponents did very good. I think Kamaru Usman did a couple of things that are like, I remember the first round when I hurt him, I did a lot of good things. He was trying to be friendly. Yeah, good round. Second round, when he kind of turned around, he didn't want to talk no more. Then he was, I know he was smart in little things. Tyron Woodley, I know he was that close to quit, but he showed like, he made a poker face that like, oh shit, he's going to keep fighting. But I know he was that close to quit, but I think Wonder Boy too, the way he plays, being Mr. Nice Guy, I think it is part of his game plan a little bit. He's, he wants to be, I'm super nice, I'm a cool guy, but he wants to knock you out. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think, those guys play very good. I would say Wonder Boy, Tyron Woodley, Kamaru Usman, one of the best with the poker face, showing emotion, controlling the emotions, I think those three guys, they did a couple things very good.
Mm-hmm. So I've got to ask you for this, Chimaev, a couple of questions and then we finish. Talk about visualization. What have you visualized going on in this fight that you're preparing yourself for? That could be for pre-fight. It could be the walk to the octagon. It could be in the octagon. What things are you starting now? You've started your training camp in general to. Have you been focusing on to allow you to think, this is how I could respond or prepare, or pong it back?
As of right now, it's very the beginning, but I started the visualization already, and I'm visualizing everything. And I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on me too, because people every fight, if I want to give my best and I work super hard, it is a lot of pressure. And I think it's gonna be a lot of pressure. You gotta be able to kind of control that and don't fight. Just kind of accept that pressure, and it is what it is. I'm gonna fight anyways. But ready for I want to, and I'm gonna work to be super ready for any talks, anything, because if that fight really happen, I think it will happen. I think it's going to be a lot of talk, a lot of, people. And one thing they used to play on my ego too was when I saw a couple of famous fighters. Who you think is going to win? Given the option of fight, they say, I think she might. This one was one thing that was, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I had that ego like inflamed. Nowadays, to be honest, I don't watch as much. Sometimes I see it. It doesn't affect me. It used to affect me bad that I look at the guy. See, like after the fight, I beat the guy that they thought they were going to see. I beat the guy. Why you don't like the guy has to believe in me or something. So that thing doesn't affect anymore. But I still little things that I still gotta kind of watch out to myself to make sure I don't get caught. But other than that, I visualize that it's going to be a tough fight, especially in the beginning. I want to be super quick, super explosive with good strategy. And I believe I can finish Chimaev. I believe I will finish Chimaev. Maybe second, third round, maybe first round. First round, maybe not very strong. But I believe I can finish in the second or third round. I do believe I'm super well-rounded fighter today with great grappling, good striking, strong, super explosive for the division. And I think now, before I hated to say that, but now I can say I'm very experienced in the UFC. Now I'm freaking 35, UFC veteran, and I think I have a lot of experience, and I can beat anyone in that division, especially those new guys that just got here. I think they still got a lot to grow, great potential, but it's still a lot of work to be done.
Cool, thank you. So we've got a very strong belief and prediction from you that if that fight does eventually happen, that you will take it. So obviously, just for me to conclude, you know, first of all, thank you very much for giving me the space in your garage, in the gym, to come along and be so open about it. I've learned a lot about how actually well-versed and educated you are in the, you know, the sports psychology arena. It's really helpful and heartwarming to see a fighter who knows themselves so well.
Thank you.
You've obviously put a lot of work into that.
A lot.
And that's the whole point of this channel, in the, you know, the inside fight, that fight that we've all got going on there, is to, you know, get more people talking about that. Sometimes in the fighting world, some people are embarrassed to say that they've got a psychologist.
I used to be
there,
not
and
anymore.
lots of people still are. You know, lots of people still are. But just like a strength and conditioning coach, or a striking coach, or a nutritionist, or a masseuse, someone who can help you with your head, because your head's where it all comes from. Everything else, you know, follows
100%.
that narrative that you play in your head. So thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
I hope the bout goes well. I hope you get the result that you want. Gilbert Burns, you've just been Believing Bruce. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you, Bruce.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I really enjoyed that interview. Loads of things to take away, not just if you're a combat athlete or someone starting, you know, your fighting journey, but if you're an average person just like me, man or woman, whatever age, whatever sex, wherever you are in the world, all right, we've all got heads and hearts and we all think, feel and act. Gilbert was a fantastic guest, absolutely brilliant. That authenticity, that vulnerability, that courageousness that he's shown to say, like, this is truly me. Not that many people in the fight game. It's getting there, it's getting better, but the ability to say, boom, here it is, the acceptance, all right, of the situation, the embracement of the reality. These are all things that if you learn from people like these, then your performance can increase, your thoughts and feelings will improve, ultimately adding an extra layer, an extra potency to anything that you do in your life, be it home, work, or in the competitive battlefield. So remember, if you are interested in performance psychology and you want to level up your performance in anything that you do, not just fighting, in any aspect of your life, remember, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, give it a thumbs up. Also in the comments, let me know what topics you want me to cover. Who do you want me to interview? Any advice like that, leave in the comments below. But also, there's some free resources at hand here. If you want some free resources that are just drip fed, just a little sprinkling, tools, tricks, techniques, processes that I use on my global clients, elite level performing people, head across to believingbruce.com. There's a little newsletter that you can subscribe up for there. And it just gives you a wealth of information in a very understandable way about how you could control this, your head and your heart, to be the best performing version of you. Look, we've all got self-doubt, we all want a bit more confidence, we all want to perform in that critical moment when we need to perform, but also, I'm not going to lie to you, there's some bit of interesting information about skullduggery, how you can impact the performance of your opponent in any given sphere of battle. In any given sphere of battle. Lots of people enjoy it. It goes out to over 200,000 people at the moment. So if you're interested in performance psychology, head across to believingbruce.com, sign up for the newsletter, be more in control of your head and the heart, and be the best you more of the time. But more important than any of this, believe in Bruce. Please remember to be kind to yourselves and each other.